Welcome to the unofficial BSHL Senior Hockey League podcast. I'm your host, Corey, joined by my co-host and good friend, the Maritime Warrior, Corey.
He's plugging my YouTube channel. Look at this guy. This guy is gold. He's worth his weight in gold.
Don't forget to e-transfer me the $20.
Oh, yeah, it's on its way.
All right, perfect. Thank you. How you feeling, buddy? You've been busy at work?
Loving in life. Exhausted, but it's a good kind of exhausted. I know you're feeling my pain when it comes to hard work, so.
Yeah, hard work pays off, but I don't know. I'm almost in vacation mode now. It's I only have to work the 9 to 5 job or whatever. I guess like an 8 to 6. I don't have to do the podcast as much as I used to. It's pretty easy right now, so I'm on vacation.
It's funny because I'm at work, and when I'm at work, it's thinking motion.
Yeah,
like just. I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to do a video on that. Got to talk to the boys about this. Got to talk to Corey about this for hockey. A funny story that happened at work. Just thought I'd mention. I just recorded a Wrestling with the Bros with Joel, and I said the story there as well. A good friend of mine, and I believe you know her, Tanya Dag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So good friend of mine. Known her since I was a baby. And this morning we're heating up our coffees at the microwave. And it's myself, Tanya, and our buddy Chris Tremblay, one of my best friends. Just a heart of gold guy.
You have too many best friends. You have 73 best friends.
I know.
You tell me, oh, you're one of my best friends. I'm like, okay, everybody's your best friend. Anyway, carry on with the story.
Corey's my best friend, but he's at the top of the list.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway, Tanya's there, and she's like, my coffee's probably ready. I put it minute 60. I go, so 2 minutes. She puts her head down. She goes, Corey, you're not going to let this go, are you? I'm like, no, a minute 60? Really? I told everybody. I told
you would. You
podcast.
Did.
I said it on the hockey podcast. I'm going to send it to her too. Hey, Tanya, my lovely coworker, this one's for you.
Isn't that John's brother? Who?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. John, who played for the Hawks that game.
John's sister, sorry.
So John is her brother.
Yeah. So John that played for the Hawks, his sister.
Yeah.
I work with Tanya, his sister, and his mother, Brenda. Two fantastic people, great friends. I guess you could call them best friends.
Yeah, probably with you. Yeah, I've known that family forever, man. They're good people for sure.
Really good people.
Yeah, they're cool. So no, that's minute 60. You know what? I'm one of those people though who'll put like 70 seconds on the microwave instead of a minute 10 because it saves like an eighth of a second. Like it's completely dumb. Here's my one question now. We're getting into microwaves. Are you okay if the microwave door gets left open or do you have to shut it?
Living with my mom and how fast she's going, the microwave door 9 times out of 10 stays open. If I see it open, I will close it.
Okay, so when you were living with your mom, she'd leave it open, but now you close that sucker all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a pain in the ass.
Oh, no, you don't do that.
So I'm a pain in the ass. No, it's not only do I do that, I'm a pain in the ass. So I've been working in nursing homes and like taking care of people for about a decade. And I used to work at Shannix in Moncton. And I had a ton of coworkers that I loved. But when you get coworkers that you really like being around, you become friends, you find what annoys them and you start to, at least if you're me, you start to mess with them. So one of them, her pet peeve, to the point where if she was like sitting in a chair, we had like these chairs that could like, there was some footrest so we could really recline and get comfortable, which was nice on breaks at work. She'd sit down with her food and her phone and whatever. And I'd come in and I'd open not one microwave, both microwaves, leave the doors wide open, go sit down next to her. And she'd be like, why are you like this? Except she was French. So she was like, Corey, pourquoi tu me fais ça? And then she used to get up, close both microwaves. And then I'd get up and like go to the washroom or something, open them again. I'd come out of the washroom, they were closed again. Like it just became like the running joke. If I'd go to break before she would, when I'd be heading back to work, I'd just pop them open on my way through. So I love to torment people with that. But the other funny one with that is that my sister is really bad at leaving like cupboard doors or the microwave open. And my mom people that have met Mama Podcast, she is not a very tall lady. And she's fierce and terrifying. I will say that. Yeah. But one day, I think either my mother, my father, or my sister left a cupboard door open, and my mom walked into it, and it hit her like almost right in the temple, like at that height. And she like saw stars. And I remember she's like, I'm going to kill them. And I always think of her sometimes like, oh, Mom. So when I go over there, I don't leave the microwave door open because I don't want her to beat my ass.
There you go. I can confirm that Corey does do these things.
Oh, yeah.
We recorded an interview. I'm not going to say who. This is for a few weeks later.
Yep.
And we're just like talking a little bit before the interview, and Corey just starts chewing his food right in the mic. And he goes, Corey really hates this. He really, really, really doesn't like this. And mid-sentence, I just stopped and looked at him.
It was funny because I didn't say that at first. First, I just took out, I actually had some Pringles. They're right behind me. And I just took a couple out, started chewing on them, and you stopped talking. And I was like, yes, I got them. Yeah, I'm the ultimate troll. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's nobody I like to pick on more than my sister. I pick on the ones I love the most.
Yeah. You must love your sister then.
Yeah, I do. She's a great sister. I'm lucky.
She is a wonderful person. A funny thing that happened this week, I was checking my analytics on my YouTube channel, all that, said that I had like 99% males and 1% female. And I was like, the 1% is Cheryl because she watches all our stuff.
Yeah, she's a great supporter. So now on the topic of chips, I was wondering, what's your favorite kind of chips?
Geez, that's a hard one. I've always been a fan of the Lay's ketchup chips.
Okay. Now, are you a fan of like having a sandwich with some chips on the side?
I am.
Okay.
I do like that, but it's new to me. Only a couple years ago, my mom was like, "You ever try that?" And I'm like, "No, that sounds stupid." And it works. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I'm going somewhere with this, though.
Okay.
So one of my coworkers, a good friend of mine, I love her. I'm not going to name her, but she's great. She's at work today, and she goes, "Oh, we tend to go to break together because we've become pretty good friends." And she's hilarious, cracks me up. So we both read a lot, and we both love hockey. So we talk about books and hockey, and it works out well. But today, she's sitting there, and I go, "What do you have for lunch today?" And she goes, "I have a sandwich and chips." And she pulls out this, it was like a BLT that she made herself, and a bag of Doritos. And I was like, whoa, that is not that's not a sandwich and chips. That's a sandwich and Doritos. I don't know how I feel about that. And she's like, what? That's the same thing. Chips, Doritos, same thing next to a sandwich. And I was like, I don't think so. I think there's a big difference there. I would have like a good roast beef sandwich or something with like some plain chips or maybe some sour cream and onion, but I'd never have them with Doritos. What do you think, Corey? Is that fine? Or is that a real sin?
I love Doritos. Doritos with anything. The barbecue Doritos are fantastic. There's I think it's a limited time only. They have the mixed Doritos where it's Cool Ranch and intense pickle or dill pickle, and it's incredibly good. Chips are a very big weakness of mine. I love chips. So when I always end up getting an extra few pounds on me, you can thank chips. But yeah, I'm on your coworker's side there. Doritos are great.
All right, fine.
If it's my choice, the type of chip that I would eat with a sandwich is barbecue. Not Doritos, though. Just like a barbecue chip.
Like Lay's barbecue or something?
Lay's barbecue, something like that.
All right. I mean, I was just curious because for me, I was like, I thought you said you had chips. Like, she lied to me. And maybe I'm still a little hurt by it, but that's fine. Neither here nor there. Going into this week's podcast, we have an interview that you were not. I did the interview alone.
I was at work.
We missed you there. Yeah, you're working a lot. We missed you there, but it was a good one. You did get to listen to it. I shared it with you on YouTube so you could give it a listen before it went live. It's with Thomas Hallihan.
Yeah.
And the first time that I heard about him, and I think the first time you heard of him, was from Roxanne. Mm-hmm. Roxanne mentioned him one game in River Valley as, hey, did you hear about this kid who has a podcast and he's trying to get PK Subban on his podcast? And I was like, what? How old is he? And she's like, oh, he's like 15 years old. And I was really impressed by that.
Yeah.
I think that takes a lot of, a lot of fortitude, a lot of guts to go out there and chase your dreams.
Absolutely.
So I have a great deal of respect for it. And I always kind of thought, oh, we should bring him on this summer sometime. And then I ran into him at the Junior C tournament.
Yeah.
Because we were both taking pictures on the ice. And he came over to me after we came off the ice and he was like, oh, you're the BSHL podcast. And then we had a chat about it. And I was like, man, you got to come on. Such a nice kid, genuine, and really just, man, again, I said it in the interview, but when I was 15, I was working at the arena in Rishabakto doing very little, nothing cool, nothing remotely cool. Corey, what were you doing when you were 15?
Getting into trouble.
Getting into trouble. What else?
Doing things I shouldn't be doing at that age, and not going to go into any details there.
Watching wrestling still?
Of course, wrestling, and wasn't watching hockey back then. I felt hockey was beneath me because all the cool kids in school liked hockey, and I was a metalhead, and I had the long hair, and I was only listening to heavy metal. How you first saw me, and you didn't really like me back then.
I was fine with you. You're just a little bit of a jerk. And I was jealous that you had beautiful hair. So that's what people don't know. Corey had this gorgeous, long, flowing locks back in the day when I met him. He had no beard, bare face, and these beautiful, long, flowing locks. You might have to throw up a picture of Corey from back then sometime on the podcast.
I remember going to... I went somewhere. I don't remember. And this old lady said, "Are you a Viking?"
That's fair, though.
I was like, no. And after I said no, my immediate question was, do they still exist? Like, I was like legit like confused by that. I'm probably like 20 at this point with my ex-girlfriend now. And she goes, I told you.
You're not nearly cool enough to be a Viking.
No, of course not.
Get lost.
You could be a good Viking, though.
No. Vikings are like strong, and they'll take a boat, their longboats, and cross the ocean, dude.
You would do that.
No, I am not made for that life. I'll tell you what. I will go canoeing very, very short distances. But yeah, you're not going to catch me in any longboat. Yeah, not unless it's a cruise ship.
My overthinking sometimes will that's one thing that happened last week that we forgot to mention. I was going to work and I pull up on a burning house.
Yeah, you pulled up on a house that was on fire. It was scary. Yeah?
Oh, petrifying. Because the flames were shooting out the side of the window. So I was like, what do I do? And you're there and you're sitting there and you're thinking of all these things that you should do and you're not moving. Yeah. You're like frozen in fear, and I'm hearing this guy starting to scream help.
That's when you called 911, or your mom did.
Oh yeah, my mom grabbed the phone. Well, no, the second my mom saw the flames, I've never seen someone dial a phone so quick. I know it's only 3 numbers, but she was on, like, I was waiting for her to like close the phone because I didn't want her to go be in danger there, because I was like, is this thing gonna collapse? Is this thing gonna explode? The gentleman that was living there was taken to the hospital. He was put in a coma, burnt his hand pretty bad. Smoke inhalation, I believe, is what he had. I believe he will be fine. But that is the scariest thing. Like, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, when I started hearing help, my immediate, like, I literally, if you're looking right now, I have chills on my arm because I thought I was hearing a man burned to death.
Props to volunteer firefighters everywhere.
Absolutely.
That's something. They were there quickly, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really brave people, and we have them in all of our communities. We're very lucky.
And this was at 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday. So, like, these people are probably working all week, and all of a sudden you get this rude awakening, this huge fire. The respect... just all the respect goes to those firefighters. Yeah, true heroes. Corey, I'm glad that turned out okay.
I know you messaged me about it right away. It was kind of traumatic for you.
Oh, yeah.
But, you did the right thing. At least you stopped. Your mom called 911. You guys did what you had to do.
Yeah.
And I think we all have some responsibility in protecting each other in this world.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Good on you. It's scary, though. So, there's something else I wanted to mention. Oh, sumo started.
I love sumo. I'm going to watch it day 2. So NHK, Nippon, NHK, anyway, the Japanese TV station, they release the highlighted videos a day late. So day 2 aired today on YouTube for free, but day 3 happened today. Okay. So basically, I watched Nato Sumo or Sumo Nato. Watched his video early in the morning on Sunday because I wasn't working. But those videos get taken down so quick.
Yeah.
And sumo lasts so long. So I just bit the bullet and I was like, you know what? I'm going to skip a day and I'm going to start on day 3 watching day 2. So
how long have you been watching sumo? Because you're a big sumo fan.
Yeah. I've been watching since 2018. I had an interest going all the way back to 2011, but I had no way of watching it. Like, with the internet evolving and all that, I found some videos on YouTube and on Facebook. I saw the Grand Sumo highlights, which is what I'm going to be watching from NHK, where they basically take, so it's 3 different tournaments or multiple tournaments, but the televised portion is, the very lower ranks, then the second ranks, which is Jurio, which is where you start getting a salary. And then the top tournament, that's where the highlights are. You have the top division guys, the Yokozunas, the Ozekis, the Sekiwakes, Komosubis, Magashiras. So that's the tournament you want to watch. The winner of the tournament after 15 days gets the Emperor's Cup and get to do it again in 2 months.
Yeah, it's an odd thing. Corey started talking to me about it. Actually, at a BSHL game a couple of years ago. Yeah. And then he was in Bucktouche. I won't forget it. He was in Bucktouche. I don't remember who Bucktouche was playing, but we were there. And we were talking. And he's like, oh, there's sumo starting like yesterday or something. And I was like, what are you talking about? Didn't know he watched sumo. So then subsequently I started watching it, and very interesting. It's an interesting sport with a lot of respect. So I don't know. There's your random fact of the day. Corey is a hardcore sumo fan. So where would you rank it in regards to sports? Pro wrestling, hockey, football, sumo. Where do you rank each?
Oh, geez, that's hard. Wrestling and hockey are tied.
For first?
For first.
And then what's third?
Probably sumo.
Sumo over the NFL.
Yeah, because my team sucks right now.
That's story of my life as a Dolphins fan. Anyway, get on YouTube, check out some sumo. That's a weird random fact that Corey likes and subsequently dragged me into liking. But
dragged another one of our friends as well.
Yeah, got a few more people. That's what Corey's all about, just promoting people to watch sumo. So anyway, random fact for the day. Thanks for listening. We're going to go to the Thomas Hallihan interview now. It's a pretty good one. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks to Thomas for coming on. I'm looking forward to, I think, trying to check in with him once a year and see where he is at in his career. Because if you're 15 years old and doing that, man, I want to see what this kid's up to when he's 25.
Yeah.
He's going to be doing something cool. So props to him. Go-getter. Oh, yeah. Props to him. Props to his parents for supporting him. And, the interview's coming up. I hope everybody enjoys it. And we will be back in a week with another great interview. Next interview is with Connor Smith. So you'll have to VP Connor Smith. So you'll have to tune in next week and check that out. But Thomas Hallihan coming up next. Hope you all enjoy it, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Welcome to the BSHL Podcast. I'm your host, Corey. Co-host Corey is not here tonight. My special guest is the host of the Light the Lamp podcast from LTL Media, Thomas Hallihan. How you doing, bud?
Doing the very best, Corey. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. We met a couple weeks ago in Miramichi at the Junior C tournament and kind of started chatting, and man, had to get you on here.
Yes, sir, man. Like I said, it's True honor to be on your podcast. I've been watching what you guys, have been doing around senior hockey in New Brunswick. So it's really cool to see, and it's a big honor to be with you today.
I appreciate it, man. It's really an honor to have you on too. So, tell me a bit about yourself for my listeners that don't know you.
Well, my name is Thomas Hallihan. I'm a 15-year-old student, actually, from beautiful Blackville, New Brunswick. For all the senior listeners, it's about 30 minutes west of Doketown, and 30 minutes east, of Doketown, 30 minutes west of Miramichi. So the Lumberjacks Northland, pretty central to them. But what I've been doing with I obviously have LTL Media as Corey mentioned at the start. With that, I've been traveling around, kind of like the unofficial BSHL Podcast media, whatever you want to call it, has been doing with senior hockey. So I've been doing that with junior hockey, basically. So I've been traveling around with the recently crowned MHL champions, the Miramichi Timberwolves. I've been doing a lot of their stuff, doing a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, a lot of interviews, actually. But I've been doing this now. It'll be 2 years in October, I think. 2 years since I first started doing the interviews and all that. So it's a big honor to have the chance to do this stuff. I've also had some legends on the podcast, PK Subban, Daryl Sittler, Eric Lindros. The list goes on.
Man, you're already spoiling everything. I love it. You started the Light Lab podcast fall winter 2022 2023. What inspired you to get into it?
What inspired me? Well, I don't think it's a matter of what. I think it's a matter of who. Lucas Halton is I don't know if he's 16 or he's 17. He's pretty close to my age. He's originally from Kingston, Ontario. And but at the time he was living in Charlottetown because his father, Jim Halton, is the head coach and general manager of the Charlottetown Islanders in the QMJHL.
Yep.
I seen his page, his podcast on my TikTok For You page or trending or whatever, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I thought I'd throw him a follow. It was only a couple days later, I went on and looked, and he was at the time living in Charlottetown, PEI, and I thought that was that's a pretty cool thing. So I looked into doing podcasts and stuff like that, and it was just like the stars aligning. There was a program at my school to learn about audio and stuff like that. So I did that for a few weeks, and then after about a month or so, Light in the Lamp podcast was born.
Man, that's pretty cool that your school had a program to kind of get you a little introduction into it. Were you hooked right away with that?
Oh yeah, like I was pretty into it. Like it was, I think it was like, I don't want to give myself a little humble brag, but I think it was pretty clear to tell that I was interested and I was gonna succeed with it. Like my teachers, my peers, just they seen I was enjoying it. So if you enjoy it, you're more than likely to do well. So yeah, I'm just glad I could take an interest, and obviously it's led me to where I am today.
So you started with some interviews of the Timberwolves. I've watched a few of those interviews actually this past week. How was that? Were you a little uncomfortable at first, or a little nervous, or was it just a natural thing right away?
Well, at the first, actually, my first interview that I released was with my I don't know if God brother's a term, but My dad is Caden McNeil, who I interviewed. My dad is Caden McNeil's godfather. So that was my first interview. And at the time, he was with Rossay Netherwood Prep School, but he's now a Timberwolf. Mm-hmm. That, like, even though those are two kind of different levels, it's still pretty intimidating. You're the first couple interviews, and then a few weeks later for Christmas, I had on like 6 or 7 of them all in the studio at my school. So that was intimidating because there's all these guys. I'm, just a timid 14-year-old. Then there's all these, big 19, 20-year-olds who some of them actually, Derek Dubé-Plouffe was signed to the Trois-Rivières Lyon in the ECHL. So there's a lot of, that's very, very intimidating. I was pretty nervous, but obviously now, like, I had a big, like a playoff preview. It was maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. I had like 7 of them on, but it was all virtually. And I know them all. tell you basically their family tree. So it's I was a lot more comfortable like further down the line.
Well, that's good. It's definitely a natural thing for you. You can tell you're having fun. Your guests look like they're having fun, which is really, that's what it's all about. Pretty early on, you had a pretty big interview with my girlfriend's favorite NHL player, former NHL player. She actually mentioned this to you, Eric Lindros. How was that experience? And how did you make it happen so early on?
Well, actually, I was pretty hungry for interviews because there was a pretty short, like a 2 or 3 month break where I had no interviews at all. Like I just took a break from podcasting and I really started to do the camera stuff and TikTok and all that. And the OHL draft had just happened like a week prior to this big event. So I went on, I said, I want interviews. I'm going to message all these 15, 16, 17-year-olds that just get drafted and see if they want to hop on the podcast. So for like 2 or 3 days, I just sat down in this very desk I'm sitting in right now, just get on my laptop, and I would have not joked messaged maybe 250 of these 16, 17-year-olds from other side of Canada. And out of those 250, I think I had like 10 come on. And out of one of those 10 people that come on actually has a podcast. And I won't mention his name for I don't want people to go saying, hey, get me Eric Lindros, get me Eric Lindros. You know what I mean? We're not getting into that here now. So, but yeah, I messaged it, like he has a podcast and he had Eric Lindros on. I think he told me he met Eric, his mom met Eric at like a dinner party or something like that out in Ontario. So that's how they got connected, and Eric got on his podcast. So when I interviewed him, I had kind of said, you know, what was it like to have a legend like Eric on, and you know, it's great, whatever, honor. And then after the interview, I like to hint my way around things. So I kind of hinted to him that I wanted to have Eric on the podcast, and to my surprise, he was more than happy to ask Eric. And I think 2 or 3 days later, I got a message back saying, yep, Eric wants to do it. Text this number. So I thought, you know, this number's gonna, I don't know, it's just some scam. Like it's gonna text it and it's gonna tell me, you know, your package has been delivered at Canada Post. Come pick it up. Like I thought it was gonna be something like that. It was not. I got a message like a few hours later. Hi, yes, this is Eric. And he actually told me he wants to work around my schooling, which glad that he kind of put school first. But kind of moving away towards that, the actual interview was maybe the scariest moment of my 2.5-year career so far. I've done a lot. Like I've done a lot of big interviews, and that's probably the scariest one because it was so early on. It was like my 8th episode, I think, and you know, prior to that, I had, you know, like I said, my god brother. Like I said, if that's a term or not. Anyway, that's besides the point. It was a huge honor to have him on. A lot of research went into it. A lot of great feedback, which is obviously good to get. So, like I said, it was a huge honor to have him on, and he is probably, if not the biggest, one of the biggest interviews I've had to date.
Man, that's a phenomenal story. It's awesome that you were able to get somebody on who then connected you with somebody like Eric Lindros. And I mean, it's definitely admirable. I mean, when I was 15, I was doing nothing remotely this cool. I was working at the Rishabaktu Arena, deep frying fries, and I was literally on the fryer. So it was like fries and onion rings and other junk. But that was what I was doing. You're interviewing former NHLers.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal, man. I love it. I love it. Since then, you've had some pretty big names on, and you already dropped a few of those, but name drop a couple more for me.
Name drop a couple more. Like I said, I don't want to humble brag, but I got to turn around to see this. I know you'll be watching on YouTube. You won't be able to see this, but this is my signed jersey that I have, and all the players that I interviewed, I got them to sign it. So awesome. we got Patrice Brisebois, and I'm not going to lie to you, all these are in the same day. Yeah. I interviewed all like 10 NHLers.
Where were you?
Day. I was at the Hockey Heroes charity event in Moncton, which is actually coming up. I think it's the May 31st to June 2nd. I will not be there this year, which is very unfortunate because actually Chris Chelios is going to be there. So that would have been a great interview. But, I'd probably, there's always next year. So anyway, we got Daryl Sittler, which I mentioned. We got Patrice Brisebois, Chris Neal, which I'm sure if you're listening to the podcast, you probably know, big fighter. Lanny McDonald, which is one I probably should have mentioned, the chairman of the Hockey Hall of Fame. Jeremy Roenick, as I said. Terry Ryan, which he's doing a lot of stuff in acting now, and he also has his own podcast. So that was a great interview. I got Denny Savard, Andrew Shaw. That was a good one. Who else do we got here? Matt Barnaby. That was good. Ethan Moreau. That's kind of an underrated one. And then there's just the ones I had over Zoom. Like I had PK Subban, as I mentioned, which that's probably my favorite one so far. And then there was just not directly NHLers, but like NHL prospects. Yep. It's like guys like Cam Squires, who's a New Jersey Devils prospect. He plays for Cape Breton Eagles now. And Zach Lheureux. I'm not great with French last name, so I apologize if I butchered that. But Zachary Lheureux, he's a Nashville Predators prospect. He plays out of the AHL team there. So, I think it adds up to about like 15 or 14 NHLers, which is pretty cool for a 15-year-old.
It's a pretty good story, man. Now, you mentioned it, but let's get into it. The first time that I really heard you and knew what it was actually, and I'm sure you know Roxanne Merrill Young, who is a big Miramichi supporter. She came to me one game in River Valley, and she was like, "Have you heard of Light the Lamp?" I'm like, "I have not heard of Light the Lamp. What are you talking about?" And she explained what it was, and she wanted to get PK Subban on. And at that point, you hadn't had him on yet. You were like trying to make that pitch to get him. And I started looking into it, and then the interview came on with you and PK, and I listened to it, and I was like, "That's phenomenal, man! It's phenomenal that PK did it. Phenomenal that PK came on. It says a lot about how nice he is, but phenomenal for you to have the initiative and go for it. I really respect that. So I'm a huge PK fan. PK is one of my favorite NHLers of all time. Just his style. He's flashy. He's a great defenseman. And a funny interview. And also a big media guy. And he's got a huge future in media. And he said some very nice things about you. So talk to me about that interview a little.
Well, as usual to all my stories, we gotta backtrack a little. All right. Someone else we had on my podcast is Dale Weiss, who's a Montreal legend in himself. I had him on, and it was a great interview, whatever. But then, as always, I kind of have a little after request. So I kind of mentioned to him because him and PK play together, and I just kind of thrown it out there that I'd like to have PK on the podcast, and he's just kind of the typical response, whatever. I can message him, but I'm sure that message didn't go through. I mean, you never know, but anyway, that kind of gave me the idea because I was just kind of on the fly. I thought of having PK on. And then I was at the Blackville Outdoor Rink, and I will mention Braden Duffy. So shout out Braden Duffy at the Blackville Outdoor Rink. Came up to me and said, "Thomas, you got to have PK Subban on the podcast." And I just said, that's a pretty good idea. Obviously, I said it's a long reach, so no guarantees. But I thought about it, and then I said, I'm gonna make a video because that's what I do best, right? Make videos. So I sat down. I got out my big camera, and I got out actually a ring light that I bought like 2-3 years ago. So that finally got a little use out of it, and I just made the video. And I put it out overnight. Woke up next day, and it was at like maybe 5,000 views, which it's like whatever, but that's not good enough for a PK Subban type interview. As the day goes, I went to bed, and it was at 20,000. Woke up, it might have been at like 50,000 combined views. So that's a big jump. Oh, yeah. So then it kind of took off. And that weekend, because I think I put it out on like a Thursday or Friday. So that weekend, I was, getting a bunch of messages saying, "Oh, yeah, I know PK. I'll get you hooked up with PK." But they didn't actually know PK. They were just saying that to get me going. But then I kind of came up with a little tactic. I went under PK Subban's who he's following on Instagram, scrolled through, and I just followed a bunch of guys that weren't verified. Okay. Got a couple follows back, and one of the follows back was from I'm not even going to try to say his name, but it's like it's PK's trainer, like his gym instructor or whatever. He followed me back. He seen the video. He commented on the video that, I messaged him. He wants to do it. And I just kind of, whatever. And then he messaged me a few hours later on and looked, and he was he sent me a screenshot saying that PK wanted to do it. And I still said, this is edited or whatever. The next day, this conversation happened on a Sunday. I was home from school sick on a Monday. I get up, it's like about 10, 11 o'clock. I go to get a bowl of cereal. Phone sitting on my bed. I go to check my phone. Subinator has tagged you in a reel. Oh. And Subinator is PK Subban's Instagram name. I say, what is going on? Go on and check. It's my video that is on PK Subban's page. So I just sit and stare at the wall for 10 minutes, just thinking of what just happened. So then I don't know if I should comment because he tagged me and he followed me on my personal account, which I don't really post on, and he also followed and tagged me on my my LTL media account. So I don't really know what to do. So like I said, I just kind of stare for 10 to 15 minutes. Then I comment, I forget. It was just kind of it's an honor or whatever. And then he has a poll on. He has a poll of, do we do it? And then I think it ended up being 95% of people said, yes, go on the podcast. And 5% of people said, don't. But I mean, the vast majority wanted him on. And I did some digging and I looked on who voted. And it's pretty cool. Legends I think Colby Armstrong and Duncan Keith, all those guys, they voted on it. So hopefully they voted yes. I don't know if they don't want to see PK Subban on my podcast, but it's still pretty cool that they voted on it. So I just kind of enjoy my my Cloud9 experience for a little longer, kind of healed my sinuses. I guess I was homesick, as I mentioned. So, but anyway, his social media manager messaged me and said, let's make this happen. We set up a time, get PK on the podcast, 1:00. I think it might have been a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night. It was it might have been on a day off from school or something like that. Teacher meetings. So I remember it being at 1:00. Just say it was a huge honor to have him on. I think it must be the most viewed podcast I've ever had so far, and it's just a huge honor to have PK on. So I thank all the people that shared it, that viewed it, and like I said, it was a big honor to have him on.
When he popped up in the call, it must have felt like an amazing accomplishment just in that moment.
Yeah. I was just kind of, like I said, I was just waiting around. So I was just kind of, looking around my room and counting the tiles on the floor because I didn't want to exit out of the thing. So I was just looking around, and then I just see a black screen. Then I see PK at the bottom, and I just, fix my posture, tighten my hat, and I just it's just kind of your life flashing in front of your eyes type moment.
That's amazing. So unbeknownst to me, I'd seen a video of some BSHL player, good friend of the podcast, Tyson Donovan, who was mic'd up. And I didn't get the two immediately that was your channel. I kind of figured out that they were the two, I don't know, I guess about 2 months ago, month and a half ago, something like that. And I was like, man, I can't believe. So then I started going back and watching some of your other stuff in the last month or so. You've really got a skill with the mic'd up stuff because they can't be easy to edit. But all of your mic'd ups are extremely, extremely entertaining. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I forget where I got the idea to do a mic'd up, but I got the equipment for it, and I think Tyson might have been one of the first people to get mic'd up. I feel no, actually, it was my other cousin. Tyson's my cousin, but my other cousin who was playing U15 Miramichi AA. I had him mic'd up, but he was one of the first guys I had for a long time. For a long period of time, I should say, mic'd up. And but yeah, the mic'd ups, I wanted to have something that separated me from everybody else. Obviously, I know I'm young and not many young people do what I do, but I wanted something that separated me from everybody, whether you're 15 or you're, I don't know, 80. But I just wanted something that separated me, as I said like 3 or 4 times. And I thought mic'd ups were the way to do it, and not many people are doing them. So, like I said, I just thought it was a good idea, and I just went for it, and they did well from the start. That video with my cousin mic'd up was one of the first big videos I had that was not World Juniors related, but that was just a big, like, the whole mic'd up thing is probably what I'm most known for. Like, I don't get too many messages looking for, highlight reels or interviews or stuff like that. 90% of my messages are come to my game and mic me up. So it's been a big success to date.
And that's phenomenal. They're really fun to watch. I'm going to tell you the truth. You've got some skill there. Very recently, though, you've been not doing mic ups. You've been busy following around the Miramichi Timberwolves, and what a run they had.
Yeah.
How much fun was it to be there with them throughout that run and to have that access?
Oh my, it was just it was all so unexpected to me. I don't want to it's just hard to put into words because I walked into I put in a Facebook post that I just walked into day 1 of training camp, September the 1st, and I didn't really know anybody by name. I knew Billy Gaston, who's Miramichi Northman forward and Timberwolves assistant coach. I knew him and I talked to him for a little. Then I was just kind of, be free basically. So I 90% of my time doing all this stuff with the Timberwolves is just walking around because I get there most of the times it's 4:35. So for a 7:00 game time, it's just a lot of walking around. So it was a very, very fun. Obviously, I got to go on 2 road trips with the team, but then obviously insurance had to shut that down. And then I also went to Summerside for game 5 of the finals, which that was a ball as well. That was actually just last week, I think a week ago today. Excuse me. But yeah, just the whole run. And I think Thursday night, the finals, that was one of the best. That's probably the highlight of my filming career so far. It was just everybody in the rink was just going on the ice, and it was so relieving because especially to see everybody, because everybody knows that the Northmen get all the crowds and they get all the big 50-50s, and the Timberwolves were hardly pulling 1,000 people a game. And then just to see there must have been near 3,000 people in the Miramichi Civic Center, and there was a nearly I think it was $14,500 for a 50-50 for a junior A game, which is just unfathomable to think about. So it was just a huge honor and really, really fun. And I got to know the guys so well. There's just the sad part, obviously seeing I got pretty close to a guy, Tyler Taunton, who plays for the Beige Valley Wildcats now. But yeah, it was just really cool to be a part of it all. Obviously, I'm still not really official, but I think something like that might be in the works soon. But like I said, it was just really, really fun to be a part of it all.
That's awesome, man. It was fun to watch, and I'm glad for you. So let's flip away from hockey for a second. You've got an interview on your YouTube channel with Steve Murphy, who is a maritime news legend. And you're well versed in his career in that interview. For your age, it's kind of what gave you such an interest in media, and do you see that as a future career path for you?
What gave me such it's hard to pinpoint what with a lot of this stuff. There's nothing really specific. It's just stuff that builds up over time. I actually had a business that I think I might have been 8 or 9. It was called Perfect Pins, and I used to sell custom pins that you wear on your hoodie or your hat or whatever. And that kind of got me an interest into talking with people and public speaking and making money and all that stuff. But then after that, it was Knuckle Puck Hockey, which was a clothing brand. So that really got me into to hockey and, like I said, talking to people and all that stuff. So I just put all that stuff together, and that's where LTL came from. So obviously, yeah, I obviously hope that I have a career in media, but you never know when something new could come up. But as of now, I think I'm on track to have a hopefully a good career in media in my future.
All right, Thomas. I agree. I think you definitely have a future in this career path. Who gets that on your resume? Your resume already looks phenomenal. You're 15 years old. Keep doing what you're doing, and who knows what the future holds. I've got a couple questions that I ask all of my hockey players, and you as well are a hockey player. So I'm going to ask you the same questions I ask everyone else. What's your favorite rink food?
Favorite rink food? That's a tough one. I got to think of that. I feel like poutine is the kind of the generic answer, but it's pretty hard to go away from that. A Pam Renew's hot dog was hard to beat for 10 years. The first 10 years was hard to beat. But when I expanded my taste buds a little, just a Joan poutine, that's hard to beat. All this is from the Renew's Tom Donovan Arena. I'll mention that now. But poutine is just, it's hard to beat. A lot of people not from Canada are pretty confused by it, but it's pretty generic answer, but it's hard to beat.
So we had Josh Russell on a few weeks ago, and he talked about the Renew's burger. Do you plug it? Is it a good burger? Do they have a good burger in Renew's?
Yes, they pretty infamous burger. Like I said, I'm not a big burger guy, but it's hard to beat anything from the canteen of Renew's.
Now the next question is, when you're driving to the rink, what music you listening to?
What music I'm listening to? It depends, really. Sometimes I'll take out the headphones and just listen to the radio. Obviously, we got the 99.3 The River and 95.9 Rewind FM, now Rewind FM, formerly Sun FM. But if I'm not listening to the radio, I like a little Tom Petty. If you look on my Instagram page and you see all the pictures I post, I usually have a little Tom Petty song in the background. So yeah, either that or I like Randy Travis. I like Randy Travis. He's put out a new song that's pretty good. I like older music, not like 40s and 50s. I like 80s and 90s country and kind of classic rock, not like Metallica, death metal, kind of that stuff, but more, like I said, Tom Petty and those kind of artists.
All right, I like it. So the floor is yours. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything we haven't covered?
Sorry, man, you glitched out pretty bad there. I couldn't
Sorry about that.
Quite understand what you're saying.
So the floor is yours, man. Is there anything that we haven't said yet that you want to mention? Anyone you want to mention?
I will mention. I'll mention my parents. Obviously, they're big into driving me spots, and everybody like I said, they're day one. Obviously, since I was born to here I am now. My parents been there all the way through. So shout out to Jennifer and Tyson Hallihan. I also, obviously got a lot of big supporters. So like I said, all my family and friends and stuff like that. So just, let's shout out to them. I will shout out though, Roman Stewart and TJ Evely, because they give me a little inspiration for Tom Petty. So shout out to them.
All right.
And yeah, like I said, just all the people that follow me and listen to the podcast. Shout out to all you guys.
So you mentioned your parents. Let's get into that just a little bit. I'm sure you couldn't do this without their support. So tell me a bit about that. They must be very proud of you, and how far you've taken this.
Oh yeah, obviously. Like I can't. It's never. You're never alone in this type of stuff. You always got to have somebody with you. And my mom and dad are just those guys. You know what I mean? They like I said, day one, they support me whatever I do, and it's great to have someone like people like them by my side.
Shout out to the Hallihan parents, man. I love it. I at the podcast, at the BSHL podcast, my team is one of my best friends, Corey, my mother, my sister, my girlfriend. These things are hard when you're on the grassroots level. You need your family, you need people that are there, and shout out to all those people that are there. I love it. So thank you, Thomas, for coming on the Unofficial Bossier Senior Hockey League podcast. This was a great time, and hopefully we'll be able to touch base again, maybe next year, and see how far you've come then, see the interviews you've done. I'll keep getting you on, and eventually it's going to be like, okay, this kid's a star. What are you going to do?
Yeah, so like I said, it's I've been watching you guys. I've been watching the live streams, been keeping up with the interviews. Obviously, like I mentioned, Tyson's my cousin, so I've been listening to all those. The Chris Keatings, the Nick Forns, been listening to all those. Josh Russell, obviously, he coaches my couple of my good buddies, so obviously listen to that one. But yeah, you guys are doing great stuff, and it's great to have people that are kind of in the same realm as me in New Brunswick.
Man. Thanks for coming on. Truly a great time, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
That's what I like to hear.
Take care.